Happy Monday, you guys. I wanted to come on today and talk about something that crossed my mind from a memory with my mom. And it made me think about how quickly we sometimes decide something is not for us before we really understand it. When I was a teenager, my mom made or cooked liver and onions. Now, I know some people already made a face just hearing it because liver and onions is one of those meals where people usually have a very strong opinion. Either you like it, you don't like it, or you do not even want to smell it. As a teenager, I had already made my mind up, as any child or teenager would. I remember looking at it like, ugh, absolutely not. My nose was turned up. My face probably said everything my mouth did not say. My mom was telling me, it's good for you. But let's be honest, when you're a kid, it's good for you does not always make something more appealing. Sometimes, for real, it makes it sound worse. But I tried it. And what surprised me was it was actually good, especially with the rice and gravy. Now, let me be clear. After eating my mom's, I realized not everybody can cook liver and onions, not even myself. And that matters because sometimes the thing itself is not the real issue. Sometimes it depends on how it's prepared, how it's presented, or even better yet, who's explaining it when it comes down to other things besides food. And whether you are willing to give it a fair chance before deciding it's not for you. And that made me think about how we do life sometimes. When we hear something, mm, we see something maybe, or better yet, someone mentions something to us. And before we really understand it, we already reject it. I don't know about you, but that's happened to me. And we say something like, that's not for me. That's a common one. Or that sounds too hard or difficult. That sounds too complicated. That sounds like sales. That's a common one in my industry. And that sounds like it's going to take too much time. Or how about this one? That sounds like something some other people would do. That's not for me. Um, or that sounds like something I wouldn't be good at. But my question is, do we really know, do we really know that? Or are we reacting based upon the first impression? Because sometimes, just sometimes, our first impression is not the full truth, like it was when we were living onions. Sometimes our first reaction is based upon what we have heard before, maybe, or what we saw someone else do. Or maybe our first reaction is based upon the way something was presented to us or an assumption we made before we had enough information. And I want to be clear, um, everything isn't for everybody. Let's just be honest, it isn't. I, I truly do believe that. But every opportunity, and every opportunity isn't a fit. Is every business not a fit? You know, every season is not the right season. Every person does not need the same thing. So this is not about forcing something to fit. This is about asking whether we're giving things a fair look before we decide that they do not fit, just like food. Because sometimes not for me is a real decision, but sometimes not for me. It's just a quick reaction. There's a difference, in my opinion. A redecision comes from understanding. A quick reaction comes from assuming or making an assumption. And I think a lot of us, my opinion, have been guilty of that from at some point in time. We've judged something too fast. We dismissed something too quickly. We talked ourselves out of something before we really had all the facts. We decided we're not the type of person who could do that. We don't even know what that is, but we already said that. We decided we did not have enough time, and we don't even know how much time something's supposed to take. And we decided that we did not know enough people, and we decided we did not have the right personality. We decided it was probably too complicated. And sometimes we made all of these decisions without even asking one question. Forget the right question. We haven't even asked one question, and we made these assumptions. So that is what I want to challenge today. Definitely not to say yes to everything. That's foolish. But to stop saying no to things that we do not actually understand yet. Because life has a way of freaking changing. And sometimes the things we used to ignore become the things we need to look at things at differently. I know I've done that about my health, you know. So sometimes the option we once dismissed starts making more sense in a different season. I mean, think about things that we worried about in our 20s don't even make sense in our 40s, or 50s. So sometimes after a layoff or caregiving responsibilities or bills increasing or wanting more flexibility or just wanting something of your own, you start seeing things through a different lens. And that is where I have been in my own life. There are things I probably would not have looked at years ago because I had a different life then. I had a different schedule. I had a different level of security, a different idea of what stability looked like. But when life shifted, I had to become more open to options. Not desperate, not reckless, but just open. There is a difference. Um, being open doesn't mean you say yes to everything. Being open means you're willing to learn before you decide. Make an educated decision. Being open also means ask questions. Be curious. Being open means you allow yourself to look at options without pressure. Being open, in my opinion, means you stop judging something only by how it sounds at first. And this is how I look at business ownership now. A lot of people hear the words own a business and immediately create a whole picture in their mind, especially if they've never done it before. They think it means quitting their job. They think it means being online or sitting in front of desk or computer all day. They think it means being pushy or aggressive. They think it means chasing people. They think it means having a big following. They think it means already knowing exactly what to say or what to do. Like there's this magic wand that comes up. They think it means being loud, outgoing, and having everything figured out. And for some people, just hearing business is like hearing liver or onions. They have already decided no before they even understand what, what it is on the plate. But what if the question is not, can I do everything? What if the question is, can I understand how this works? What if the question is, could this fit alongside my current life? Hmm. What if the question is there structure, organization? What if the question is, would I have guidance, support, help? What if the question is, could I learn this step by step? What if the question is this worth just taking a closer look? That is a very different conversation. And that is why I do believe in trying, let me take that back. That's why I do not believe in trying to convince people. Who's in the job of doing that? I believe, though, in clarity. Because when a person has clarity, they can make a better decision. They can say yes with understanding, and they can say no with understanding. They can say not right now with understanding, but at least the decision is based upon information, not just assumption. And that matters because some people are sitting in seasons where they know they want something different. They can feel in their bones, but they keep dismissing it, every option, before they actually look into it. They want more flexibility, but they dismiss the flexible options. They just shrug it off. They want additional income. They need more money, but they dismiss just the idea of business ownership. Hmm. They want something of their own, but they just shrug it off before they even have a simple idea of how it works. They want guidance, but they never step into conversations where guidance is offered. And again, I'm not saying everything is for everybody. Let me make that very clear. But I am saying this: do not let an assumption make a decision for you. Do not let a bad presentation make you reject a good option. And do not let what someone else did poorly make you believe the whole thing has no value. Don't let fear decide before facts get a chance to speak. Because sometimes it's not the thing itself. Sometimes it is how it was prepared. Sometimes it's how it was presented, or even who explained it to you. Sometimes it's whether you were even in the right season to receive it. Your timing is everything. So that liver and onions meal that I talked about earlier could have been terrible if someone else has made it. But because my mom knew what she was doing and she knew she had a little magic in the kitchen, it surprised me. And that is the part that stuck with me. The right preparation matters, you guys. The right guidance matters. The right explanation matters. This is the key thing. The right timing matters. And sometimes the thing you thought was not for you may be worth a different look when it's presented with clarity and structure. So today, this Monday, what is it, June 15th? I just want to leave you with this question. What is something you dismissed too quickly, only to later realize you may not have fully understood it? Maybe it was food. Maybe it was a person. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was a skill set. Maybe it was a business. Maybe it was an opportunity. Maybe it was even yourself. But sometimes we do not just dismiss options. Sometimes we dismiss our own ability. We say, I could never do that. But maybe the truth is, I've never been shown how. That's a different statement. I could never do that closes the door. Boom, slams it shut. I have never been shown how. Leaves room to learn. And sometimes that's all we need. Room to learn. Room to fail and get back up, or fall and get back up. Room to ask. Room to look. People around the corner. Room to decide with better information. So if you ever been curious about owning a travel business, or thought what it could look like alongside your current life without quitting your job, without having everything figured out, and without pressure, then inbox me the word look. I'll make sure that you get the information so that you can have an understanding. I ain't in the business convincing you, and I sure the heck ain't trying to pressure nobody. Just so you can understand the option to decide whether it's worth a closer look. Because before you say it's not for you, make sure you actually understand what it is. That's my thought for today. So go out there and have a phenomenal day on purpose.